I remember Virender Sehwag in Edgbaston, and we was chasing a very small total against Sri Lanka, about 209 or 10 to win that game on a seaming pitch. And I had got out early, and I came back into the dressing room and was watching the game, and Virender Sehwag kept on hitting the ball in the air. John Wright was sitting next to me, and he's one of the most nervous persons I have ever met. When India played and when India batted, the freezer in the dressing room was in danger, because he would walk up to the freezer, open the door, take water out, bang it back, and I'm sure the organizers had to change a few freezers over a 5-day test match. So I was standing up and watching Virender Sehwag bat, and he kept hitting over the top, and then he smashed one straight down to mid-off. I remember John sending a message at the start of the over, telling that it's a small total, we needed to win, so just play, just settle down and get to the end of it. But as you know, Viru, he had his own ways of playing, and he smashed it straight into the hands of mid-off, and he walked up the dressing room, and we were all sitting. I didn't even look at Viru because I knew what John was thinking. And suddenly I got up and saw John not next to me. I didn't even realize what was going on in the dressing room. And the match got over, we won by 6 wickets, and at the end, it was a convincing win for India. I went back to the dressing room at the end of the game, and I went around the dressing room congratulating everyone. And there was an absolute pin of silence in the dressing room. So I went up to Anil and said, what's happened? Everybody's so quiet, we've just beaten Sri Lanka. It's as if that we've lost by 6 wickets. He said, no, you come out, I'll tell you something. So he took me out. He took me out and said, John Wright has punched Virender Sehwag. I said, what? Then I went into the dressing room, and I saw Viru in that corner fixing his bat up. I was expecting a bit of blood on his cheeks. He was absolutely fine, and he was cleaning his cricket bat. So I took Anil out and asked, punched me in what? Are you joking or are you serious? He said, no. When Virender Sehwag walked into the dressing room, John Wright caught him by his collar and took him into the corner of the wall and said, you're never going to play for India again, because that shot would lose the cricket match for us. And I was just outside the dressing room watching the game. I didn't know how to react. We finished, we packed, and we got into the team bus. I used to sit in front and John on the third row, and Virender Sehwag was right at the back. So I went up to John and sat next to him and said, Coach, what's this punching story going on? He said, no, it's all fine, don't worry. I said, I know it's all fine because there's no noise being made and nobody's been talking about it. But did you actually punch Virender Sehwag? He said, yes, I did. And then I asked him, did he punch you back? And he said, no, he dare do that. I said, oh God, you're punching a grown-up boy and you expect not to punch him back. So I didn't ask him too many questions, and everything finished. We reached the hotel in London, and as everyone went down the bus, I sat on my first chair, and everyone went down one by one, and Virender Sehwag was the last man to come out. And I told him, sit next to me. So he sat next to me, and I said, did John Wright punch you? He said, who told you? I said, boss, I'm supposed to know. I'm captain of your team. I was about 10 meters away from you, so somebody must have come and told me. He said, yeah, Skip, don't worry, it's fine. It happens. I played a shit shot. He was angry. He punched me. We shook hands, and it was fine. He went down the bus, and he went into the St. James's Court Hotel, and I sat in the bus for the next 10 minutes. And to be honest, I was happy and not sad. I said, I think we are becoming a good side. And I came back to the hotel, and I went straight to Sachin's room and said, Sach, I feel we are becoming a good team. He said, why? What makes you feel that? He said, you must have heard about the punching story in the dressing room. He said, yeah, I saw it. I was in one corner having a cup of tea when John caught him by the collar. And I said, I asked Viru. Viru said, no, it's no problem, everything is fine. And I asked John, he said, everything is fine, there's no issues, and there's been punching going on in the dressing room. And not one single soul knew about it outside. And you know how Indian media is. That was the first thing when I entered this room. I asked one of our colleagues that I hope there is no media, because it will be first thing in the morning in the newspaper tomorrow. And nobody got to know in the dressing room. And the crux of the matter for me was that we are a team. We are a team which spent 7, 8, 9 months on the road. That's what Indian team did, even when we were playing, and even now, maybe a bit more now. And it was an environment where there were two hot-headed people who got angry about an incident on a cricket match, but nobody took the matter out of the dressing room. And I think that's a very important essence in a team. It's about staying together. It's about the trust Virendra Sehwag had on John Wright, because a few days later Virendra Sehwag went on to make 100, a magnificent 100. And I read John Wright saying in the newspaper, he's the best opening batsman India has seen for a while. So for me, not just winning the series in England was special, but for me that incident and the entire episode was very, very special, and I remembered it in all my life. Not that I'm saying that you keep punching each other in your offices, but what I'm trying to say is that, in spite of such a heated environment, in spite of emotions coming out under pressure, I was lucky enough to lead a group of boys who had trust in each other, and that's the reason I think Indian cricket went forward. I get a lot of credit for India performing well during this period, but I firmly believed that India performed well, and a lot of my credit went to the colleagues I had in the dressing room who were actually wonderful human beings, the likes of Sachin, Rahul, Lakshman, Virendra Sehwag, who rose above the competition and tried to create a team which would make them proud all over the country. So I think for all of us to be a good unit, it's about trusting in each other, having faith in each other, but that has to start from the leader. The leader has to create an environment where each and every one of them are on the same plane, each and every one of them believe in each other, and each and every one of them trust in each other. And I think that's most important in a successful unit. For me, communication is also important in creating a winning unit. It's about knowing exactly what's happening in the office, in your team, and in your group of people. It's about having a similar sort of message, the right message, boiling down to everyone. You may be the best, you may be a bit more experienced, you may be having a bit more runs than the people around you, you may be a bit more successful than the people around you, but it's a platform where all of us had to be on the same level. Yes, you could not treat a Tendulkar in the same level as a young boy, but you try to do it as much as you can so that you create an environment where the best players perform at their best. I see a lot of those skills in Mahendra Singh Dhoni when he became captain of India, and he's done such a wonderful job as captain of India. His communication skills, his making a young player believe in his ability. It's about making a young guy believe that you've been brought into this environment because we believe in you. We believe that you will be successful. It makes a massive difference as a leader, and it makes a massive difference to the young boy when you feel that your leader, your boss, your captain has terrific faith in you, and they expect you to blossom well and to create an environment where you yourself will be important for you to perform. I know time is very short, but another aspect of leadership which I think I should share with all of you with my experience in cricket. I was captain of India for 6 years, and when you're captain of India, you're basically running Indian cricket. But there are times when most of you leaders will have to give it away to someone. That's the rule of life. You don't stay at the top forever. You don't be a CEO forever. You don't be the chairman of a company forever. Somebody else takes over, and you still have to find a way to be successful. That's very hard though. When all your life for 6 months, 6 years, 7 years, for you 10 years, 15 years, you've been at the top, you've called the shots, you've run your entire unit, you've run your entire cricket team. Suddenly when someone else takes over you can still create an environment of a leadership. I'm sure it happens in most of your cases. In a lot of your lives, you shift from one position to the other, and obviously you get treated differently. And I faced that experience when I was left out as captain in 2006 because of unfortunate incidents. The only mistake I did was I did not put a note under my coach's door that I am with you. I'm sure that in your corporate world you need to do that. Just put a note under the door of your boss and say that you're someone who I am with. And I think that's another challenge, and that's another form of leadership which most of you, or rather all of us, have to understand and find a way out to solve, because it's a very common thing in everyone's life that you don't stay at the top forever. So what happens when you don't remain a captain of a site? What happens when you don't remain a CEO of a company, but you still have to go and work and earn your living, basically, to put it in a crude way? I think that's where all your leadership skills, that's where all your maturity, all your experience over a period of time is important, because even through that leadership, with your experience of leadership without being actually the leader, you can create a winning combination. You can actually create an environment where your boss, who could have played under you for a long period of time, it happens in our sport, somebody who you captain becomes your captain and then you play under him. That's a very common scenario in our sport, but when you get into that situation, there could be an issue of tension, there could be an issue of looking over the shoulder, but I think that's also a situation where your leadership skills, your inherent leadership skills comes on in enhancing your career. So I'm a firm believer that you're not just a leader, you don't just create a winning combination by just being captain, you don't just create a winning combination by actually having the word leader or the boss or the captain next to your name. Even when you have been a leader and you're not the leader at the moment, through your maturity and through your experience, you can actually create a unit who will create winning performances from you. I would like to stop at that because I don't think we've got much time. We'll have an interactive session. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for having me amongst all of you. And hopefully we can share a few more thoughts once we have the panel discussion. Thanks a lot.